In this session, we're going to discuss supplier invoices and how they're processed. So from my home ribbon, I'm going to go to Purchases. Under Purchases, you're going to see Supplier Invoices. So what are supplier invoices? These are copies of all invoices where you are receiving in inventory into the system, parts into work orders into the system, and sublet into work orders. So you want to remember this is where the vast majority of your invoices are going to show up. Now this is like a stopping point or a holding area. In other words, whenever you receive in parts, it's going to put a copy of that invoice here, and it does not automatically go to the payables. Does not. So this is going to give us the capability of double checking the entries and making corrections. And again, you're going to have suppliers. You have your list of suppliers here. You can search for any particular supplier you want. You can look at what's been posted or not posted. And you can search for a specific invoice. Here you're going to see the supplier name, invoice number, the status. Is it posted? What date is it posted on? What date was it created? Now, if I want to search all of them real quick, very simple. Just hit reset at the top left, search. That just pulls them all up. So it's everything that's in my system that has not been posted to the payable yet. If you're looking for a specific supplier, you can certainly do that. Hit search, and there you go. So let's look at some of the features that we have in here. So I'm going to just simply left click, right click, or double click. Opens it up. So when you open these up, it's going to give you the invoice number that was entered in the system, the date, the supplier. It's going to list each item individually. And if you look on the far left column, this always tells you where it went. Did it go into inventory? Is it on a work order? Is it an invoice? Is it a sublet? Was it returned? So you'll see different icons depending on where it went. So what am I actually doing here? What I'm doing is comparing this to the actual paper copy. So everything should add up. You know, I have an air filter here. Did I receive it? Here's my cost. Does it match the paper copy? That's all I'm doing is I'm going down the line to make sure it adds up properly. Now, if I want to look at something, I can right click. I can do a view. Here's where it was received into the inventory. Now, this does get a little touchy with inventory because once it's received in, and especially if you've already sold it or starting to sell it, it's really hard to make adjustments here. Okay. So if I were to come in here and change this cost, let's say my cost was $3.90. Whoops. I put a decimal there per unit. And I want to update the cost. Let's see what happens. Now it changed it. Now, if any of these had been sold, it would not let me change that. So you may have to do just what we call an adjustment to it. View is the same thing as right-clicking up here. Okay. You have the capability on any of these supplier invoices of adding what we call an expense item. So an expense item could be something as simple as maybe I got a box of gloves or something like that. So here I'm going to go look for my shop supply journal. Tell it what I got. How much was it? How many did I get? When I hit OK, it adds this additional line to the ticket. And you'll notice on the left, see, it's an expense item. Here's where you can adjust the overall invoice number. So what if I received all these parts, but this air filter was on a totally different invoice number? I can right click, do a view. I can change it. I can move it to another existing invoice number. I can override it and change it here. And what it does, it completely moves it off of this invoice to a different invoice. If we had the wrong supplier selected, I can do this here also. So remember, if I'm doing it here, I'm just doing it for the one line that I've highlighted, versus up here, if I do it at the top, this is for the overall invoice, for all of it. That's the difference. Here you can do tax adjustments if needed. If something is off, you can go in and adjust it. You can add a shipping charge. Now, the reason you would add a shipping charge back here would be if the business is paying for the freight. In other words, I did not pass it along in the cost of the product or on, say, a work order. So if I had a couple of dollars for freight, something like that, I add it in, and now it's going to add that extra shipping charge into it. You can come and do adjustments. So this adjustment is for the ending number, the grand total. You know, sometimes you have multiple items that might even be sold to you in fractions, things like that. Maybe tax is off a little bit. So you can always come in and make a final adjustment, and typically it's going to be for the pennies. And you can do positive or negative, either way. So it's just to get you the grand total to match exactly what it is. If you ever run into an issue with inventory where you've actually seen people double enter inventory by mistake, there's a couple of training tours on that and how to fix that. And there's a couple of variations. You might want to go watch those because they do get a little bit detailed. Here you can email, PDF, print off, whatever you want to do. And then once you're done with the ticket, post it. So as soon as I hit post, it's going to send it to the payable account. Now this one happens to be over 90 days old, which is not a good thing. You should normally not do it this late. But this is just to give you an idea. This is the pop-up warnings that are set up in the location settings to let you know if you're doing something too far in the past or too far in the future. Let's go look at another invoice here. Here we have an invoice with some blades and stuff on it, and these are on work orders. So let's go take a look at this work order. So I highlight the line. Now I can right click and open the work order, or I can go up to the top. Same thing. So this is an open work order that is in progress. Here's where these wiper blades were entered. So what if there was an issue here? Maybe we had 3, but we really don't need 3. We only need a couple of them. I can always open the line here if I want. And then I can return. Now I can do this as long as this is an open work order. Once it's an invoice, I cannot do this. Now let's save that. Close it up. I'm going to do a save here and reopen that back up. So now you see we received 3, we were billed for 3, but we're going to return 2. So what that simply means is it's going to put 2 into the returns bin so we can send them back and track them and make sure we get our credit. So again, settings are the same. I can add expense items. I can change the overall invoice number, tax adjustment, shipping charges, final adjustment. If everything looks good, now I can post it. So when I post, again, it's letting me know a warning. So what is this warning? It's just letting me know that I have 1 or more items on an open work order. If I were to post this, I cannot alter the received amount. Cannot alter it. So if you're in a situation where maybe you're receiving multiple items, like here I originally got 3 wiper blades, but I wasn't sure if I were going to return any of them or all of them or some of them. At this point, typically I would not post this. But since I know for sure this is exactly what I'm going to do, that's okay to post it. Once I post it, see, I cannot alter that return. Cannot alter it. And now that's posted. We'll take a quick look at one more here. Now this one you'll notice on the far left, it has a little red exclamation, and these are on invoices. So the red exclamation just simply means it was received, but it's not on any work order line, so it's in the returns bin. It was received. I'll look over to the right, received and returned, which is okay. We received it in, didn't want it, we're going to send it back. Now, an item that is on an invoice, let's take a look at this wiper blade. So we're going to go over to the invoice here. It'll always box in the line that you're looking for, the particular line. If I go to my analysis, here's where I sold it for $44.30. There's my cost of $17.99. There's my gross profit dollars and my gross profit margin. So what if whoever entered this entered the cost incorrectly? They made a mistake. Let's go see what happens when we change it. So if I right click and do a view, now I'm going to change the cost. Now I can do it here or in the total value, either place. So let's just say it's cost me $27.99. So even though I'm altering the cost of the product here, I cannot alter the sale price because it's on an invoice. It's posted out. It's done. It's gone. Let's go see what happens to my invoice when I alter the cost. Sell price is still the same. Go look at our analysis. $44.30. There's our new cost. Suddenly our gross profit margin dropped quite a bit, didn't it? Doesn't look too good. So yes, you can alter the cost on parts and sublets after an invoice is posted by altering it on the supplier invoice. And it does keep your numbers accurate. The only thing that is truly different is a sublet. A sublet just will not have a part number anytime you sublet something on a work order. That's the only difference. And it will let you know it's a sublet. And then when you're done, you post it, ready to go. Again, see, this is a pretty old one.